Hey, we're about to start the show, and you know the drill. If you've been here before and you have something important to share, please add a capital letter Q to your comment. And if you are watching live for the first time, please let us know by writing the word new, and we'll give you a nice little welcome. Enjoy the broadcast. Oh, Gary Green, you totally make my day with this comment um, on how all the candidates declared victory late last night, and then Gary asks, at what point do they claim defeat, or do they? Well, I'm happy to report that this trend from north of the border of not accepting electoral results is not becoming fashionable down here. I will cut to the chase, Gary, and tell you that it'll happen, but not yet. I will have all the electoral information you want to have on this broadcast. Well, everything that we know for certain at this moment. But it's been quite an interesting adventure. I will tell you about it when we get to the news, which will happen in a second. First of all, as always, good morning, everyone. Here we go, another week. It is now June. It is now hot and humid, and everything we know and love about summer is here, even though summer solstice hasn't even happened yet. But we are definitely in the middle of schwitziness. Now, all we need is major rain to refresh everything, and we should be good as new, or at least that's what I hope. Today, I'm very happy to report that we have mostly election-related content because, it just happened yesterday. So if you don't care about the Mexican elections, then you're probably better off doing something else through the next half hour. But if you're curious as to how things went, I will go in chronological order, starting with my own personal experience, which began yesterday morning. I got up and I knew that the voting locations were expected to be ready either 8 o'clock or 8:30 in the morning, depending on what you read. So at 9:30, I left my apartment without coffee, without food, without anything. I figured I'm going to do this first and foremost because it is my responsibility and my privilege. So my voting location was a school on Milan Street, about 4 blocks away from my house, which is curious because half a block away from my house in Conalep, that was another voting location, but I was sent 4 blocks away. No biggie. I had my audiobook in my headphones, and I was just happy as a clam. And I get there, and the line is all the way around the corner from the school, and I thought, well, what's going on here? And then I went and did some research, and I realized that line was not the line to use. Inside of the school, several classrooms were used as voting booths, and it all boiled down to your last name. So I was fortunate that by the time I got there, which again was around 9:30 in the morning, my last name, Ojeda, was in the voting booth that was ready to go. So I quickly learned something interesting, that not all the booths were ready to go at as early as they were um, saying that they would be. But I was fortunate. My last name was ready to go. So I essentially moved through the line. And in less than half an hour, I had voted and I was good to go. And I came back home and all was well. When I started reading some early morning news, there were reports of some voting locations in Puerto Vallarta that were not open until 10:30 or 11, which is kind of weird. Of course, you have to remember that the government sends you notices that say, hey, you've been selected to be a volunteer at election booth such and such. So you have no choice but to go unless you decide not to go. And the way elections work in Mexico is, if you happen to vote on a place where people decided, well, now I'm not going to do my responsible thing and I'm not going to show up, that's when you run into problems where voting booths don't open when they're supposed to. But again, as for myself, I voted. I had my little thumb, colored, and I went on with my day, and I had a fabulous time. And decided not to pay much attention to preliminary election results last night. Of course, the first preliminary result that everybody was expecting was a no-brainer. Mexico chose Claudia Sheinbaum as the first lady president of Mexico, according to the preliminary count, and she won by a wide margin. Her triumph was quickly acknowledged by the other two candidates, so the presidential election is a done deal. We will have Mexico's first lady president, and her name is Claudia Sheinbaum. Of course, PBS and other English language news outlets were quick to put out little editorial profiles. Who is this lady and what do you need to know about her? So I selected the one from PBS, which is, of course, written in English, if you want to know more about who she is and what she brings to the table. And of course, she is the same party as President López Obrador. So President López Obrador is absolutely happy. And now let's look at the Jalisco governor results. This is all preliminary information. Preliminary information places Pablo Lemus from the Morena party on the lead, but by a narrow margin over Claudia Delgadillo. So we will wait and see what happens on this one. The State Electoral College is still tallying results. And of course, as Gary Green commented earlier, here in Puerto Vallarta, all three primary candidates to become the next mayor of our city declare themselves winners through the evening. And of course, this is expected. That's what they do. However, these statements of "we won" were not founded on anything, as the votes were still being tallied, at least the preliminary count. That said, as the evening progressed, numbers seemed to favor Luis Munguia of the Partido Verde, so he called for a celebration at Los Arcos on the Malecón at 11:30 at night. But again, the votes were still being tallied, and as of this morning, the votes continue to be tallied, but Munguia seems to be on the lead. When will the votes be finalized? I suspect that when it comes to deputies and mayors and minor, not minor. Of course, we're talking about the mayor of our city, which is not minor, but the smaller election results will be made definitive sometime in the next 2 days, I would think. Now, I'm just throwing that number out because I don't know exactly when the cutout date is. I think we reported it has to be within the next couple of days. But if these numbers continue to move the way they're moving, everything seems to indicate that we will not have Chuyita as mayor of Puerto Vallarta, and that the Partido Verde will be the next partido or party that will run our city. Again, we need to wait a couple of days to figure out what is actually happening there. And now let's take a quick look at this. Guess what? I asked artificial intelligence to name the most important classical music masterworks, and artificial intelligence delivered. In my next music appreciation presentation, we will dive into timeless masterpieces recommended by ChatGPT. From Beethoven's majestic symphonies to Vivaldi's enchanting concertos, we will uncover the stories behind these beloved compositions and explore their enduring appeal. Whether you are a seasoned aficionado or new to classical music, this event promises to ignite your passion and deepen your appreciation for the timeless beauty of these musical treasures. Our meeting will be, of course, this coming Thursday on June 6 at 5 p.m. at the air-conditioned Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work. Tickets are already on sale at the hotel's reception desk. I hope to see you there. And here's our weather. Snarky weatherman says, don't let this nice weather fool you. The end is nigh, N-I-G-H. And I don't know that word. I have seen it written. I've seen it printed, but I don't know what N-I-G-H means. Note to self, look it up in the dictionary. Just look it up. I will look it up. Anyhow, it's 29 degrees right now. Humidity is at 75%. Our weather forecast for today says we are going to have a humid day with clear skies, a high of 30 and a low of 24. Tomorrow, Tuesday, will be a humid day, again with mostly clear skies. Thank you very much, Sue Davenport, for that quick dictionary look. Anyhow, tomorrow, humid day with mostly clear skies throughout the day, a high of 30 and a low of 23. And then Wednesday will be mostly cloudy skies in the morning with mostly clear skies in the afternoon, a high of 30 and a low of 22. I am looking at rain percentage numbers, and they're still way, way too low to take seriously. I don't think it's going to rain just yet, but I'm ready. Are you ready for the rain? Please let me know. Anyhow, I have one more thing to share. Let me just get that out of the way. We have a new report from the PuRR Project that was published by Banderas News, and it's always nice to see how Banderas News publishes these reports. If you wish to know what is going on with if you wish to know what's going on with this wonderful nonprofit here in town that looks after cats in a no-kill shelter, then just head over to this article in English published by Banderas News. And the thing I want to talk to you has to do with the spotlight. Our spotlight is coming up on Wednesday, and we decided that the spotlight would be a show where we would promote local event organizers. And I am mindful of the fact that it's going to take a while to take off. But at the same time, I can't help but to notice that even though we're publishing and advertising the spotlight to the best of our ability, it's not like there are a ton of event organizers knocking on my door saying, hey, we would love to talk about our event. And there are a ton of events going on in the city. All you have to do is take a look at Facebook events and Facebook in general, and there are a number of people doing all kinds of things. And I keep wondering, well, is it something I said? Maybe they don't know we're here. Maybe they don't have a webcam. I don't know. But here's the interesting thing. At the same time that event organizers are not knocking at my door as enthusiastically as I anticipated, there are a couple of service providers that are knocking, and they don't have specific events at specific times or dates or places, but like I received a wonderful email from a doctor that specializes in alternative medicine, and he's like, well, we would love to talk about what we do. And I thought, well, that sounds fascinating. So here's what I'm thinking. Coffee and Headlines has always been advertising free, with the exception, of course, of our community partners, as we have all felt comfortable in proceeding. But if we are to be about connections, should the spotlight, which is a different beast, not this program, not Coffee and Headlines, should the spotlight also allow us to connect with service providers, people that are doing stuff? Maybe they don't have a specific event coming up, but maybe they're doing interesting things that we would want to know about. So that is my question to you. I would value your opinion on this matter. I do trust and continue to hope that as we move forward, more and more event organizers will knock on our doors and will be willing to share about their upcoming events. But all of a sudden, I don't feel like I want to close the door on someone just because they don't have a specific event in sight. So do let me think what your opinion is on this matter as we move through your comments. And the first thing that comes to mind comes from Gina. I've been waiting for you, girl, because you're doing all kinds of wonderful things. You're doing burgers and you're doing food delivered, and you know, we are ready. We are ready, Gina. Just say when. So let me put myself in chit chat mode and see what we have today. Okay, Gary, I hope I answered your question. I think we need to wait a little bit longer for local results, but I'm excited about Claudia Sheinbaum. I really am. Let's see. Pudim pum pim pum. Michael says, "Go green." I hear you. I voted for Partido Verde locally. Am I crazy about Munguia? No, I'm not crazy about Munguia, but I'm even less crazy about the others. You know, and I've been very verbal about my personal thoughts on Morena locally, and Morena locally seems like a bad idea to me, but that's just me. I hope they don't come looking for me or something. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. I don't understand. That's fascinating. If they are defeated, do they stop wearing shoes? I don't get it. I don't get it, but I'm curious about that. If they are defeated, they stop wearing shoes?
¿Qué pasa? No entiendo.
No entiendo. Chris, what do you mean? Political candidates always wear shoes. Maybe I missed something. Laura says, good morning, Paco and Luna. We heard it's sprinkling in some areas. Hope that's providing relief. Not yet, Laura, at least not in my neighborhood. I'm not feeling any relief just yet, but again, we keep our fingers crossed. Oh, Pamela, I took a photo in your honor yesterday. I took a photo of my dining room table. Good morning, dear fellow hooker to you. I hope you're hooking something interesting. Um, let's see. Laura says, have you ever been to Alex Sausages on Grijalva 667? They look really good. I haven't tried them. But if anybody has any comments for Laura, please feel free to share. Albert says, I find them to be a bit dry. There you go. Angelica says, I think the cutoff is Wednesday. And again, I think that's what we reported last week. I just happen to know that, municipal and state elections, they take longer to tally. So, we'll have the results whenever they are ready. And again, I'm happy to see that this fashion of not declaring the results as truthful is not spreading from north of the border because. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Pat, for pointing me to Nye. I figured it was an old English word. It sounds so sexy and formal. I love it. And then Michael asks, looking back on the history of Puerto Vallarta, is this not the first time Verde won, or is Google wrong? I actually don't know the answer to your question, Michael. I don't know if Verde has won before, but again, I hope that this guy brings change and good change for our city. Oh no, Stan! I was looking forward to seeing you on Thursday, but I wish you wonderful trip. I know that we have a get together in the works. Let me know when you come back, and hopefully we can get together at your convenience. Let's see what else. Harold says Paraíso Felino is another great cat sanctuary. It is located in San Juan de Abajo in Nayarit. That is good to know. Thank you very much. And then I think I'm seeing comments about Spotlight, and we already acknowledged Gina's. Chris says, Spotlight, go for it. Expand your horizons. Well, I'm actually expanding our horizons because we are in a big city now, and we have been for some years. And it's been a while since we could even pretend to have a finger on the pulse of the city as a whole. And I think there are some publications out there that would like to think that they have a finger on the pulse of Puerto Vallarta. And I won't speak about them, but I know I don't. It's a big city. And so I'm always eager to hear more about what other people are doing. Betsy says service providers sound interesting to me. And Gina says, hey, boo, yes, sir. So I look forward, to hearing more about what you're up to, Gina. I tried another one of your burgers this week, and it was absolutely fun. Michael says, yes, I definitely think it's a good thing to have those kind of like seminars or information spots. Well, there you go. I'm so glad to have your support, and I see more comments to that effect. Services too, service providers, yes. Service providers, interesting. Hello, Jim. I miss you already. Have you left? I think you've left, have you not? Let's see what else we have. Oh my God, everybody wants to learn more about service providers. So, okay, there you go. The Spotlight is now officially the talk show for service providers and event organizers. I will change all the logo and the lingo and all that stuff. And I thank you for your feedback. Again, I don't want to overwhelm any experience with advertising because it seems like the vast majority of other information outlets in town will swarm you with advertisements. And we don't like to do that here at Coffee and Headlines. More support. Oh. Oh, I can be so dense. I can be so dense. Thank you, Chris. I need more coffee. Now I get it. It's a little complicated. They're going to be barefoot because they're going to be defeated. I need coffee. Thank you. That is funny. That is very funny. Although I'm not laughing, but it is funny how I didn't get it. I can be so stupid, I tell you. Anyhow, um, I like the idea of expanding spotlight, says Pamela. There are also event producers and show producers that come to mind that don't have an immediate show, but who have done tons of shows and events here. But a good one would be Gina and also Francie from the food project. I forget the new name. As an aside, Pamela came to our first mini meet and greet. And if you ever have a chance to meet Pamela in person, and I hope you will, please ask her to tell you the story of how she had her name legally changed. Pam, you are hysterical, and I love you for your personality. You made us laugh so much in our little mini meet and greet. I hope you come to each and every one of them. And here is Sandy. Sandy, we talked about your results on Saturday. I hope you were watching. Sandy says, I like the idea of learning more about alternative medicine, but maybe there are others besides just 1%er. Combined, for instance, with Crystal Frosted Organic Select and maybe others. Well, again, and as I've said before, we're opening the door for all these event and service providers to come and be interviewed for free. That does not mean that we're going to devote a lot of time to knock on people's doors. As much as I would like to, I'm still a one-person operation, so hopefully the voice will spread thanks to you, and service providers will also start paying attention to what we're doing here. And I do believe it could be really interesting to have informational interviews and to find out about events. I continue to rally for all those event organizers because the event organizers that we've had have been super awesome. Francie is doing a lot of fundraisers for building the Vallarta Girls School. Again, hopefully she'll knock on our door at some point. Thank you for that, Doug. Defeated as in no shoes. Again, I need more coffee. More coffee for Paco. Let's see. And Gina had a wonderful wine tasting at Whiskey Kitchen yesterday. There you go. Oh, and you followed it by pool party and then Alka-Seltzer this morning. I'm not surprised. I was there for the pool party segment and we were all a little happy, shall we say. Frank has a long review, well, a good review on Alex. I only go to Alex for sausages, especially hot Italian, perfect for my pasta sauce. I did discover another guy this past Saturday at a farmer's market along the Rio Pitillal, the Parque Lineal. Yes, they had their monthly market. Nice surprise and colorful market with even a mechanical bull. That sounds sexy. As a complete aside, I need to buy sausages. Note to self. I've had garbanzo beans in my mind, and if I don't cook garbanzo beans this week, I may go crazy. I really may. I left for Chicago Friday. Miss Puerto Vallarta already. Well, we'll keep things in order for you, Jim. No worries. We'll keep everything in order. Ay. Was a fun pool party time, Brian, and I need more coffee this morning. Maybe that's why I didn't get the joke, because I had my share of boozy drinks last night, or yesterday afternoon, rather. Anyhow, this brings us to the end of this broadcast, this Coffee and Headlines. I appreciate your interest in local elections and federal and state elections. Again, we're going to keep looking at how this whole thing evolves, and hopefully the news will return to being more varied and interesting, or beyond just the topic of elections in the days to come. I hope you have a great beginning of the week, and I look forward to seeing you sometime again soon. It is June, which means we start looking at new community partners to start their annual liaison with us on the month of July. So I'm going to start moving that as well. I wish you an amazing week, and I hope to see you again tomorrow morning. Take care.